Welcome into episode 3 of Short Shifts, the North American League hockey podcast. I'm Brandon Hofstra, joined, of course, by Christian Larson and Vinny Paracelli. Guys, how we doing? We'll start with Christian, right across from me here in the room.
Doing well. We had a fun weekend of action in the NAHL last weekend, and I'm excited for the upcoming one.
Vinny?
Ready to go, ready to talk some hockey. New setup, as you could see. The listeners can't, but you can see new setup, so I'm excited. So let's get it going.
You know, and it's last time that we all chatted, and you just realized this, but in the bio of the last episode, it says Vinny is a dad, all in caps, which you texted me yesterday. Who did this? I said, I have no idea, but a few weeks in now being a dad, let's just get that out of the way right now. And you just picked your mom up late from the airport. It's her first time seeing the baby, so that had been a pretty cool moment at home, huh?
Yeah, it was different for sure. It was like I don't usually see my mom that emotional, so that was in a good way though. So it's
Right.
it was exciting, and glad I remembered her.
Well, it's kind of
Definitely forgot I had the duty to pick her up.
Let's jump right into it.
Work gets in the way sometimes. Work gets in the way.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. Let's jump right into it. We'll kind of just dive into the standings around the NAHL and kind of the leaderboards of each team in the NAHL. Maybe this will be something that we start to do as we go forward, kind of just highlighting these teams that are in first place. But we'll start with the Central Division. North Iowa, they're streaking 3-0, first place in the Central Division, 6-2, 0-0, 12 points. What have you guys been seeing from North Iowa? Obviously, we got a few guys that have been helping them out up front, scoring on the back end. You got a few blue liners, both with a few points, and their goaltender, he's been just absolutely lights out in the back end.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing you got to look at for North Iowa, last season they were ranked near dead last in terms of goals allowed. And so far this year, through 8 games, they've only allowed 13 goals, so obviously under 2 per game. You got to definitely look at that back end tandem of Mitch Day and Eric Chafe as the catalyst for that team. And it all starts at the back end for those two guys. So I mean, good start for North Iowa from that standpoint. Mitch Day 3-2, 193, 941, 1 shutout, not a big deal. Then you go to his mate Eric Chafe, 3-0, 1.17, 955, 2 shutouts. Not a big deal. So, I mean, you get good goaltending, especially in that Central Division. You're going to win a lot of games. We saw it a couple years ago with Aberdeen and the brick wall that was Jake Seibel when he posted like a 117 or something crazy stupid for the entire season. So, I mean, you get good goaltending in any division in this league, you're going to do well. And that's what I think the key for North Iowa is to start. Obviously, offensively, Byron Hartley with 8 points, Dombrowski 8 points, Justin Mexico 7 points of his own. So, yes, you need it offensively. You need to put pucks in the net. That's how you win games, by scoring the most goals. But you got to have those guys that can keep it out.
Yeah, I think with having goaltending like that and having the confidence in the back end, it gives them more trust in flying up for it. I was watching their game on Saturday against the Bruins, and and Friday, and some of their goals, they were just the counterattacks and the odd man rushes. They're just flying down and seeing each other. It looks like they're already molding. Top bottom, so I really like what I'm seeing with North Iowa.
So yeah, as we kind of dive into his stats, 1.17 goal against average, a .955 save percentage, only allowing 4 goals this season so far as well. So pretty good stuff over there in North Central Iowa. Let's dive into the Eastern side now. Maryland 8-2, 0-0, first place in the East. They are 8-2 in their past 10 games played. First loss came to them over the weekend as New Jersey. They got a few of their key guys back up front that were a big deal for helping them win last year, win the Robertson Cup, that is. Brandon Dumas and Anthony Calafiore up front. But so yeah, back to Maryland, 3 guys up front. Christian Catalano with 10 games played, 14 points. Dimitri Kibru with 10 games played, 13 points. And Gabriel Westling, 9 games played, 12 points. So they have some offensive firepower there. On the back end, they have the third leading scoring defenseman in the NAHL with Sean Kilcullen, 10 games played, 3 goals, 6 assists for 9 points. And they've been riding their goaltender back there of William Hannison, 6-0-0-1 record, a 1.67 goal against average, and a .924 save percentage, and he's currently the most winningest goalie in the North American Hockey League. So some big things out of the East from the Maryland Black Bears, and if you guys have anything to say too, hop on in.
Yeah, you mentioned those top three guys, and you also got Brad McNeil in there, Luke Van Wy, a couple of veterans. Adam Shankula is the guy that played a few games with them last season. PHL guys we'll talk about a little later on, but he's coming and contributed right away with 6 points in 9 games. So, like you said, we got those, that first line of guys that's, over a point per game, but you also got those depth pieces on line, say 2 and 3, and on the back end, like you mentioned a little bit with Kilcullen. And, the thing not that I shouldn't say I worry about Maryland, but it seems every year they get off to this good start. The key for them is maintaining it and keeping it going. Obviously, 8-2 though through the first 10 games. You do 8-2 every 10 game little stretch there, you're going to be just fine. You'll be in the playoffs, probably in a number 1 spot.
So moving now from the East to the Midwest, the Janesville Jets and the Fairbanks Ice Dogs both tied for that first place spot after month number 1. Janesville, a 6-1, 2-0 record, 14 points. And on the other side, Fairbanks, 7-3, 0-0, 14 points, both tied for first, like I said. And Janesville right now, Vinny, they're led by Chris Pelosi, 7 games played, 6 points. Kyle Kurdna, 9 games played, 6 points. And Gabriel Lundberg, 8 games played and 6 points. Defensively, Connor Brown, 7 games played with 5 points. And they're splitting some time with their 2 goalies. Peter Sterling, 4 games, 3-0, 1-0 record, a 1.50 goal against average, and a .947 save percentage. And then the other goaltender of Selby Warren, 5 games played, 3-1, 1-0 record, a 1.99 goal against average, and a .932 save percentage. We saw Janesville lighten it up at the showcase, but anything else you guys want to add on that?
I really like Janesville's depth. I mean, looking at their stat sheet right now, you got 10 guys that have scored at least 4 points. You got, 3 guys with 6, about 5 guys with 5, and then that 4th guy on there. Like, they're getting it from everywhere. It's not like, Maryland, yes, they're doing well. They're getting contributions from all over, but you got those main 3 that are point a game guy. With Janesville, it looks like everyone's contributing. I mean, you could just like throw a dart at the board, and that person's contributing. He's got a big goal or a big assist, a big helper there. So I really like the depth that Janesville's got. I know they had a coaching change, obviously, right before the season. We all know that with Joe Dibble going from general manager to head coach. So, I mean, he helped recruit these guys in some way, shape, or form. So, obviously, he's got a good feel for what he's got in that group over there.
Now on the Fairbanks side, again, the other team that is tied for first so far in the Midwest Division, they are led by Tyler Herzberg, 10 games played, 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points on the season. Back end, Jacob Conrad leads all defensemen with 10 games played with 8 assists. And Caden Hargraves, goaltender in between the pipes, obviously, with 7 games played, 6-1 record, a 1.86 goal against average, and a .946 save percentage, taking most of the load out there for the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. And Vinny, Christian, they've been on the road now for about how long? When are they going to head back home for their first home opener?
They return to the Big Dipper tomorrow night, a big tilt with the Anchorage Wolverines, Battle of Alaska Part 1, because I know they got Kenai up there as well. 10 road games, essentially. I know 2 of them technically counted as home games with the showcase, but we're not going to, away from home. The Big Dipper is an atmosphere unlike any other. I have not yet been there, been, fortunate enough to go there. I've heard stories about how insane that building is, and I know it's only gotten crazier with the additions of some video screens in the building. They got Profit on the ice, the GM going around a little 4-wheeler doing tricks and stuff. So Fairbanks, that's every year they start off on the road. They got to get off to a decent start. Usually they have some nice home cooking. They do very well up at the Big Dipper. But I think for them right now, I mean, Caden Hargraves, 2-time star of the week. I mean, he's in his 3rd year with the club. Yeah, he's in his 3rd year with the team. So, I mean, the guy's been around the block. He's improved his numbers each year. I think he's ready to take that next step to finally get that Division I commitment. I mean, it's his final year of junior, so, that's what he's looking for, of course. Those Star of the Week awards are definitely going to help his cause. And we just got to throw this out there because, we are a NAHL family of league show, 3HL product. So we got to shout that out, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But Tyler Herzberg, veteran guy, Cameron Ricotta, veteran guy, Buffalo guy. Got to shout out my Buffalo guys as well from the 716. But yeah, that team, honestly, with all the veterans that they have and that bad taste in their mouth that they have from losing that first round series against the Wilderness last year, I think it's lingered with them. We talked to Dave Allison over the summer about how bad that loss was for that locker room. I just think those guys are just had that extra motivation this year to, obviously get back to first place in the Midwest, but take care of business and get back to the Robertson Cup.
Yeah, I think, it all starts with Hargraves. Not to discount Fairbanks' defense, but he's had to make some difficult saves. It hasn't been easy for him, and I believe this week he got a play of the week. He was number 2 or number 1, making an unbelievable rebound stop. And he's just been the backbone for them. And I'll have to shout this out as well. He's a PHL alum, too. So, the ladder of development is clear here.
We're in full force.
PHL, 3HL, NAHL, so.
All right, we'll move on to the South Division as the New Mexico Ice Wolves hang out up top right now, a 6-1-0-1 record, 13 points. They're on a 3-game winning streak as well. William Howard leading them in scoring with 12 points in 8 games played with 8 goals, 4 assists, and 12 points. On the backside, Jack Dalton, 8 games played, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. And they got both goalies splitting the load between Carson Stokes, who has 4 games played, near perfect record of 3-0-0-1, a 2.45 goal against average and a .923 save percentage. And then William Craig, 4 games played, 3-1-0-0 record, 3.50 goal against average, and a .882 save percentage. So obviously they've been winning these last 3 games in a row, but if you take a look at those goal against averages for these two guys, they're letting in a lot of goals, but that's something that obviously Phil Fox and his staff will take a look at and keep getting these guys to where they need to be for heading in later into the season.
Yeah, they had a wild series in Corpus this past weekend. I think it was 6-5 and 5-4. They had a shootout in there. I mean, it had some back and forth games. So, I mean, sometimes those numbers get inflated, especially with a small sample size. But, Carson Stokes, he's won a Fraser Cup championship in the 3HL. He kind of bounced around last year, not getting a lot of playing time. Now he's getting a shot. He's proven that he belongs here in the North American Hockey League. Will Craig, new to the league, but off to a good start as well. And, that team in front of him, though, a lot of guys coming back from that, Robertson Cup team from last season. So I don't have any worries with them yet. Obviously, they're going to figure out that situation and give up a lot of goals. I mean, they're scoring a lot, so I guess it really doesn't matter. They're making up for it right now. But I think that club, especially with the addition of Alfred Lindbergh, who we saw just dazzle us at the showcase,
right.
He's going to provide a lot of offense for them as well. One thing I will say, we got to shout out Amarillo as well. Although they're not in first place, they are still 6-0, the only undefeated team left in the North American Hockey League.
Right. All right, let's move on. The news just came out today as we are recording on Wednesday, the September Players of the Month. We'll start off with forward Hunter Jones out of Oklahoma with the Warriors. Just been lights out so far this season. 11 points in 6 games, included 4 goals and 7 assists and a +9 rating. He's had 3 multi-point games, which included a 5-point effort during the first game of the NAHL showcase. So, Vinny, I'll let you start with him. Obviously, Hunter Jones, we've been seeing his name a lot. We've been hearing his name a lot and deserves to get the Forward Star of the Month nomination. And, Vinny, what have you seen from him?
I've seen a guy that's on a mission right now, really. Let's just call it what it is. He's a 2002 birth year, meaning it's his last year. Doesn't have the commitment just yet. And it is his 3rd full season in the North American Hockey League. He started with Bismarck, then he went over to Wichita, and he's kind of now with Oklahoma, they moved and all that stuff. So he's been a Warrior for quite a while, but the guy's just getting after it. I mean, like you said, he had a heck of a showcase. I mean, it was 10 points in those 4 games, had another point in against Shreveport on Friday. Technically the Saturday game doesn't count toward that whole total, but he had another goal, so no big deal. But 12.7 games, obviously in total, playing really well and leading the NAHL right now in points per game at 1.71.
Yeah, I mean, he's been firing hot from the start. He's currently on pace for over 100 points. So, if he can keep that up, that'll definitely draw some attention to those D1 schools that he's trying to get a commitment to. So, good for him.
Move on now to the Defensive Player of the Month of Michael Newmeyer from the Bismarck Bobcats. Put up 10 points in just 7 games in the month of September. The Saskatchewan native scored 2 goals and added 8 assists during the month, and he recorded at least a point in 5 of his last 7 games and had 3 multi-point games. So, big 6'3", 193-pound defenseman for the Bismarck Bobcats. Vinny, we'll let you take this one away as well.
Yeah, 2 points in the 4 games of the showcase. So, a little bit of a slow start, but as soon as he got in division play, I mean, he had a 6-point weekend against Aberdeen last weekend, 2 more points against Minot on a Friday night. So obviously, just had to work into a little bit, a little preseason rust, maybe just had to kick it off, and then he's been good to go since. So obviously the multi-point games definitely help when you're able to contribute offensively as a defenseman. Obviously the plus minus rating, always a big talking point, whether it's, actually a good stat or not, because you can just be on the ice, whatnot. But obviously as a defenseman, you're scoring points. It means you're not on the ice and you're giving goals up. So obviously you must be doing something right. Veteran guy, second year in the league, 66 career games, 38 points. I mean, uncommitted so far, but I expect that to change. He's an 03, so he's got time. He's still got this year and next year if he wants to.
And then, Vinny, as you stated earlier, showing Amarillo a little love. Here's some love for them. The goaltender of the month belongs to them, Carter Clafton, the 6'2", 175-pound goaltender out of Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Posted a 3-0 record, allowing just 3 goals in 3 games. He stopped 71 of 74 shots during the month, good for a 1.0 goal against average and a .959 save percentage. So some pretty ridiculous numbers. What'd you guys see from him?
So once again, another veteran guy that, he's bounced around. He's played for Minot, had a stint on the Bismarck roster for a little bit, but a guy that is locked in early on. He's got a good test in that first game of the season against Anchorage. I mean, the runner up from last year holds them to a goal. Kenai River holds them up to a goal the following day, so back-to-back really good starts from him. Then he comes back against a Shreveport team that, is very tough to play against, especially in George's Pond at the Hirsch Coliseum. A hostile environment for sure. Overly hostile sometimes, but to give up just the one goal every time, you're going to give yourself and your team a chance to win every night.
So pretty much what you saw from him in the month was him stopping a lot of pucks.
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, that's what we're saying.
Another guy looking for a D1 commitment, college commitment, so we'll see what happens.
Speaking of college hockey, we'll kind of look at a few guys who made their debut last week, who spent last season in the NAHL. Again, just a handful of guys here. Blake Dangos, Janesville, Arizona State now. Reese Farrell from Maine, playing at Army. He was actually the Rookie of the Week of the Atlantic Hockey Division. Blake Messenberg, St. Cloud Norseman, now at Miami, Ohio. Ryan O'Neill, St. Cloud as well at St. Thomas. Ethan Roberts, St. Louis Junior Blue at St. Thomas as well. So, of course, we'll keep our eyes posted and probably get something out of a lot of those guys from last season who are now making their dive into NCAA hockey. So speaking of those college guys, we have a special guest joining us here. It's Kyle Jeffers with the Lindenwood Lions, and we'll shoot it over to him now. Joined here by our guest, played in the North American Prospects Hockey League, the North American Hockey League, the NCAA, ACHA, and now back to the NCAA. We are joined here with Kyle Jeffers, a Lindenwood Lion. Kyle, how's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. I understand you guys are ready to hit the bus, getting the bus packed, and you're heading out to Ann Arbor to take on the old Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, it should be a good weekend. We had a pretty solid weekend on our eyes last week. We battled pretty well for our first weekend, and a lot of guys stepped up to and fill some shoes. So it was a good weekend last weekend, and we know that we have to build off this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. You guys obviously took on Minnesota, the Gophers, last weekend. Very cool. You played in the NAPHL with the New Jersey Titans, 16s and 18s. Made a few stops during those years playing with the big boys in the NAHL. But talk about your time in the NAPHL and kind of what you learned and how that prepped you to move up to the NAHL squad.
Oh, it was great. Playing with George Havlin in the Titans, U16s and 18s, was tremendous. It was a tremendous opportunity, and I think it slowly built my game up to where it is now, and I had a blast. I played with a lot of kids that I still talk to today and that play college as well, so it was just a great opportunity. And then going up to the NAHL with Craig DeRemus and Bobby Dorico was another tremendous opportunity. I learned a ton playing for them as well, so they kind of just rolled into each other, so it was really a blessing.
Kyle, tell us about what that transition is like from youth hockey to junior hockey, because obviously a ton of kids try to do it, but not everyone can make that transition and be successful. What was the key for you to be able to know that, hey, I could play at this next level?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. The speed of the game changes. Obviously, every level you go up. So in that aspect, it's speed, but also it's like a little bit of a mental thing. If you're not playing right away, you get scratched a couple times, or you don't score in a couple games, or you get a little cold. You can't dwell on yourself too much. You just gotta put your head down and keep grinding, and eventually it'll bounce your way. So I think for me, initially I didn't get the looks that I wanted initially in the null, but slowly just kept my head down and kept working, and then slowly was more of a like everyday player. So I thought that helped me a lot. Just keep battling and don't kind of give up.
Definitely.
Yeah, an everyday player. I mean, let's see. Let's take a look here. 17-18, 13 goals, 14 assists, 27 points. The following year, you played a full season, 25, 27, 52. Almost a point per game guy. Then your final junior season, 48 games, 23, 34 for 57, over a point per game guy. One of the leaders of that New Jersey Titans team. But we all know how your junior career kind of ended. And a lot of people, a lot of 99s especially, ran into that COVID monster in March of 2020. What was that experience like for you as a player? Like, most guys, you kind of know when your last game is in juniors. You're able to kind of, celebrate with the boys. You kind of have that. You had this build up, and then all of a sudden it's finally over for you. Yeah, you had the closure. For you, it was just like, hey guys, we're done. Pack it up and get out of here. Like, what was that like for you guys?
Yeah,
and yourself, especially being one of the leaders on that team.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the best groups I've ever played with. I all those kids. I wish we could play one more game or finish out that season. Like, it was just an unreal team, and kind of like you said, it was a little unexpected. We knew once COVID hit in early January, there was some rumors that it was becoming a little more serious, and we kind of just kept working, and then it came like on a Monday. I'm pretty sure it was like a Monday or Tuesday practice. They kind of just said like, "Hey guys, like, we think it's gonna be it." So we practiced that day. The tempo was up just in hopes that we can keep going, but later that week it got shut down, and it was honestly heartbreaking because we all thought that we had a team that could make a deep run. We were one of the better teams in the league that year for sure, and we had a lot of kids that would do anything to win. So to get that swept from our feet was heartbreaking, and I'm definitely sure that majority of the kids on that team would do anything to play a couple more games together. So.
Oh, 100%. Let's kind of fast forward from there. You go to AIC, you're there for a year, and then you transfer to Lindenwood to play ACHA hockey at Lindenwood. But in that kind of meantime, the New Jersey Titans, obviously last season, won the 2022 Robertson Cup. Did you get a chance to see the Cup? Did you get a chance to see Craig DeRamus and any of those guys or any of that stuff with the Cup last year?
I didn't get to see the Cup itself, but previous summers I usually train there in previous summers. I just didn't get there this summer, but I'm in constant contact with both Craig and also Bobby. So just to know that how satisfied they were of winning that, and like much deserving. It was an unbelievable feeling for, I'm sure, them and for all the alumni and players as well. So I think they deserved it. They were knocking on the door for a couple of years there, so to finally get it done is great for the organization, great for them, and great for everybody a part of it.
Right. Is it a little redeeming for you guys knowing, like you said earlier, like you guys were probably one of the favorites to win the Robertson Cup in 2020, and I know Craig touched on it a lot during that run, especially when in the Final Four at the event in Minnesota, about how they were playing for your group in particular to get the job done because you guys didn't have that chance. Yeah,
it's definitely satisfying that they got it done. I mean, they put in their, and every hour of the day they're just figuring out how to make that team better, make all the kids better. So just for them, I know that it was huge, and I know I've seen a couple interviews and I've talked to Craig and Bobby, and they've said that it was for us, but it was more for them. Like they put in so much work, and their dedication to the kids and to like us, the players and the alumni and all that stuff is surreal. It's honestly, it's so special, and it's such a special thing to be a part of. So for them to be able to finally close the deal there, not only for that team but for all the alumni and all that stuff, it was honestly unbelievable. So couldn't be more happy for them.
Being happy, obviously last season you guys took an ACHA national championship. Then you hear the news, and this is all at Lindenwood. Then you hear the news that you guys are going Division I hockey. What was the reaction? What were you doing? Were all you and the guys hanging out? I know that they had like kind of an event with some of the St. Louis Blues down there, but how cool is that to be a part of this new tradition now in college hockey?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Like a bunch of the kids, a bunch of the freshmen last year came here in hopes that we were going to transform into D1, and then there were some rumors that it wasn't going to happen. So it was kind of an up and down rumor throughout the season, but we just kept working hard. And honestly, when we got that news, that practice is one of the most like upbeat, electric practices I've ever been a part of. So I think once we heard that news, it was so satisfying and a huge relief to all of us. And I'm sure that it was one of the best things that could have happened to us because we're all so excited and we're grateful and we won't take anything for granted now. So just keep working.
So like you were talking about how you're on your way to Ann Arbor soon. No big deal, but you guys are starting, with Minnesota and Michigan, two like absolute powerhouses in college hockey, like these, storied programs. Here you guys are in your first couple of games. You make history. You score the first ever goal in Division I history at Lindenwood. But like right away, you guys are thrown right into the ringer of Division I hockey, like getting these big clubs. What has that been like? Knowing that, hey, you got to bring your A game every single night, at least in the first couple weeks here.
Yeah, I mean, it's honest. It's honestly, I was speechless once we saw the schedule. But I'm sure that me as well as most of the guys, once we saw it, we knew we were gonna have to go to work and just grind and practice in the weight room and all that stuff. So honestly, I think it was kind of good for us to start off with the best teams possible, to see where we stand, kind of, and to know the expectation for the rest of the season. So I think playing Minnesota last week was a good test for us. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the country, so I thought we battled well, and I think that set the stage for the following weeks to come. So I think if we keep playing the way we do, we'll shock a lot of people, and I think everybody in the locker room knows that.
Second season for you at Lindenwood. Talk about, and I've gotten a private tour of the facility that you guys had at the I think it was March of last year, your assistant coach, Jason Powers. So shout out to him for helping us get this set up with you. But talk about that facility there, the accommodations, how cool it is to share a building with St. Louis Blues, too, on top of that, and that beautiful new building over in Maryland Heights.
Yeah, it's honestly great. It's really special and really cool to be able to see some of the Blues guys walking around after practice, in the medical room, whatever it may be. It's cool to be in the same atmosphere as them and see how they go about their day. Just like we go about ours. So it's really special. It's a beautiful facility, beautiful arena, and we couldn't be more grateful for everything that we've put into that the school's put into the locker room and all that type of stuff. So it's real special, and honestly, it's really cool to be able to see some top-notch pro guys walking around the facility every so often. So.
All right, so Vinny mentioned it earlier. You had the first goal ever scored in Lindenwood Division I school history. Then you added up an assist in that game as well, but talk about, put us in your skates. Walk us through that play, then that feeling after, and how great of an accomplishment that was. And where's the puck is the most important question. Is it in the School Hall of Fame right now?
No, not quite. Our assistant coach, Mark Abney, has that one in the office right now. But it was a special feeling. I know not just for me, but for them too. It was just, honestly, it was on a power play. It was just a broken play at the point, kind of. And our D-man kept it in, and one of the other forwards on our line, David Gagnon, gave it up from the corner right into the middle, and I just kind of got it and shot it. And it was a relief for us because the day before we got shut out, obviously. So just to get the first one out of the way was special, and then we just kind of went to work from there. So it was special, but we knew that one goal wasn't going to get it done, so we just had to keep going.
You're an NA guy. You played a handful of years in the league. What advice, if any, that you can give to guys that are currently in the NA searching for that NCAA commitment? What's the key to make it happen from your perspective?
I'd probably say just like don't try to do too much. Just play within yourself. Like if you're a grinder, just grind and work hard. If you score, you gotta score. Like it's like don't try to overcomplicate things and just stay in your own. Just stay out of your own head. If you have a couple bad games, like it's not the end of the world. Just put your head down a bit and like it'll come. Just don't don't like grip your stick too tight and just play. And that's the biggest thing that I learned in juniors and all the way up through college to now. Like you're gonna have your games, you're gonna have your bad games, but whatever happens, you just gotta bounce back is the biggest thing. So.
Kyle, you got the first one out of the way. We're hoping that you find a few more as you guys are about to hit the bus up to Ann Arbor to play the Michigan Wolverines. So wishing you nothing but good luck the rest of the season. Congratulations on that first goal, and we appreciate it so much you taking some time to get away from packing the bus and talk with us instead.
No problem. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right, we want to thank Kyle again for joining us here on such short notice. Again, they're about to hop on the bus and head out to Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines this weekend, so good luck to the Lindenwood Lions out there. Little news as well, Vinny, this might be news to you as well, is we are getting some Short Shifts merchandise that will be available for sale on shop.nahl.com, so we will let our folks know as soon as that hits our website. Again, shop.nahl.com. Anything else you guys want to add in? Some final words?
I would say getting merch is hot.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's huge.
Frankly, that's hot. It's huge.
All right, thanks again for everybody tuning in to episode 3 here of Short Shifts. Next weekend, we will be up in Blaine, Minnesota for the PHL event. We're going to run into a handful of ex-NAHL players, now turned coaches. So stay tuned for some of those interviews we have. We got a handful of interviews lined up coming up for our new episodes. Next one will be coming out on October 21st. So until then, I'm Brandon, joined by Vinny and Christian. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you in 2 weeks.